Right, hello, all you glorious people. Welcome back to another episode of Tamara Unfiltered. This is probably the episode you've all been waiting for. If you are keeping up with everything that's going on, you will know that I have been suffering with the symptoms of what I think is the peri-menopause, or I think I kind of know is. And I have been discussing, how it's been affecting me, and this is the episode where I'm going to tell you finally what the hell I have been taking. Now, I'm really into supplementing. I've always taken a lot of supplements when I can, and what I appreciate is that not everybody can afford to supplement. So I kind of fall in the middle where I'm not so rich that supplementing as much as I do is easy for me. However, I make it a priority because I know how much it really just helps my life. But I equally understand, if you are not able to do this, that you're going to have to seek other remedies, which I am going to talk about, and because I would like this to be inclusive for everybody, so I'm going to get to that, but that is not this episode. This episode probably going to need some cash, but what I will say, as with everything, I kind of always try and seek to find the best product at the most affordable price. Like, I don't buy overpriced shit. I think a lot of stuff is just overpriced shit. Like, they've got really good branding, they've got a fantastic marketing team, and they know how to sell a lot of these products to you with a lot of false promises, so you just buy a load of shit. But the stuff I'm using genuinely works, and this is another thing. This is nothing. If you remember back in the beginning when I started filming the podcast, I said I was trying to get some sponsorship. Now, probably a little bit bold of me to assume that I have spent the last 8 years refusing to take any form of payment to do any form of influencing, because I've basically been an anti-influencer. Kind of bold of me to think people are gonna now just want to splash me with cash. So I haven't actually had any response from any of these companies. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but I do know once I film this has gone out and you lot start buying this shit, they'll probably get back in contact with me. So here's to hoping that will happen. But I am not gatekeeping, and one thing I am is very authentic. If these people are not going to pay me to tell you about their shit, that's fine. I'm still going to tell you anyway, because I genuinely believe in this stuff. And this actually, if anything, should be probably more testament to the products, because I have been personally buying these products myself. This is not something I have been gifted. This is not something someone has tried to make me take so I can tell you about it. This is stuff I have sought out myself, just so I can actually try and help myself. Now, I don't really know where to start, but I think I'm gonna start with probably my favorite supplement, but it's not the one I've been taking for the longest. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm about to flash a little bottle of something called NMN. Now, NMN is nicotinamide mononucleotide. Can't even say it properly, but basically it's like a derivative of vitamin B3. And the story about how I discovered this was really interesting, because I was watching, I think, somebody else's podcast, and they were talking about aging. Now, what's mad is they've basically now classified aging as a disease, which is wild. But because it's a disease, they're basically saying it's curable and it's preventable. So there's this guy, I think he's called David Sinclair. I really wish I'd done a bit more research for this show. Would you know what? Maybe if you people had paid me to sell this shit, I would have done the research, but whatever. There's this guy, I think he's called David Sinclair. And he was kind of put in charge or tasked with he basically had to find the cure for this aging disease, right? And so he discovered this NMN thing. Now, NMN is basically a precursor to something called NAD. And this NAD thing is something we make naturally in our body when we're young. But I think it's from about they say 40, I think, your levels start to really drastically decline. And this NAD thing is kind of what you need to basically stay young. So you take this NMN and it kind of basically boosts your production of this NAD stuff. Now, I've been taking this stuff probably for quite a while now. I'm gonna about 5 months maybe. Sorry, I just made a horse noise. Probably about 5 months, and it is one of the supplements that I have taken that has made a very, very drastic difference in my life. The change has been noticeable and it has been measurable. And if you remember back, I think it was the last pod or the pod before, I was saying how when I'd had to basically stopped taking these tablets for a week, I very quickly felt the effects of not taking them. Anyway, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how this has affected me, because it was really interesting. If again, back to previous pods, you know I've been suffering like with the peri-menopause, and a lot of the symptoms that come with that are just unbearable. Like this whole thing where I have completely lost the will to live, and I have lost the energy to even muster the will to live, or to even bloody function properly. And the fact that I'm just so tired, and I don't know, like these things, they're just, we all know that you need the energy, you need basic energy to just get on with life. And when you just can't, even though it sounds so stupid, but when you just can't fucking find it, I don't know, it's very, I haven't liked the last few months. I really flipping haven't. Anyway, so this NMN, like I said, I discovered this, and I bought some from this brand. This is from Viva NMN. And I loved it. Now, I really react to things really quickly. But I do know with this, you have to kind of like take it for a little while for it to start building up, for it to actually have a kind of noticeable effect. Anyway, so when I started taking it, and I will not forget this, because day 10, I literally just, I remember I woke up, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was just wide awake. I was just ready to go. And I'm not even ready to go when I wake up at normal o'clock in the morning, let alone 4 o'clock in the morning. And I kind of just laid in bed, and I thought I'd end up going back to sleep, but I didn't. And I remember just getting up at 6 and just getting on with the day and riding the whole day till I went back to bed again. And that in itself was mad, because at that point I was having what I was calling an involuntary nap every day. And when I say involuntary, it was almost like I had narcolepsy. No matter what I did, at around 2-3 o'clock every day, when I've cleared up after lunch and I've done that kind of day's clearing up, that bit before you got to start cooking dinner, I'm just fucking dead. Like nothing would stop me from falling asleep. It might have only been like 20 minutes, half an hour, but I would always just conk out. And that was the first day, that day 10 of taking this, that I just woke up, like I said, at 4 o'clock in the morning, and just flipping kept going for the rest of the day. And that impressed me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that turned me on a little bit. I was like, wow, because it's been a long time since I had actually felt that kind of energy. I don't know, I just felt different. Anyway, do you know what? I'm just searching for this on my computer now, because I actually wrote a diary about this, because when I started taking it, I full transparency, I was so impressed when I started taking this stuff. Some of you, true Instagram, will remember this. In fact, some of you might have bought it. I was so impressed with this stuff. I actually started my own little company selling this stuff. However, some of you will know about drop shipping and stuff. In fact, it's a fantastic model. This was another thing that just opened me up to a whole new idea of business that I didn't know existed, but I hadn't really considered. But basically, you can buy products, labelless products, and there are companies who will stick your label, your branding on, and post these products out to your customers, and it kind of looks as if you're doing it. So I set this up with this NMN. But the thing was, it wasn't this brand. I couldn't get this brand, and at the time, I didn't know enough about NMN to know that there's like levels to it. NMN, I kind of joke that it's like a soft cocaine, and I feel like, as with cocaine or with any drugs, there are levels. There are like different qualities to it. And so when I started selling my one, I also started taking it, because I had to buy a load of it to like take pictures and stuff. So because I had it, I obviously took it. Very, very quickly, probably within about a week, I noticed I wasn't feeling the same way I was feeling when I was taking this Viva NMN one. Now, again, you guys know I'm always going to keep things real, and I can't do things that I know are not right. So I shut everything down. I was like, I cannot be knowingly selling a product that I know is a lesser product. And I thought, if I can't sell this product, I'm just not going to bother. So that's how much I loved NMN, and that is how much I actually love this company as well. And I haven't actually tried anything outside of this. I mean, again, maybe there is something better than this, I'm not sure, but for me, this is the best of what I have tried, and I really, really love this product. But yeah, with regards to the effects, the energy thing was probably the biggest, most noticeable effect. And I think, what is that noise? I hope that's not on the video. The energy thing was the most noticeable effect, but it's also kind of affected other things. Like, I noticed that I don't even think I know I had brain fog, but I certainly started feeling a lot clearer in my mind. It was almost like I got my brain back. And I don't know if that's because when I was reading about this, like it can help to like balance your hormones. And I think it helped with that. And that's obviously just had an effect on everything else. And because your hormones are everything, like your hormones control your whole life. And if you don't have them balanced, like you're going to be feeling absolutely fucked. Anyway, so for me, the energy was a massive part of it, and I loved it for that alone. But I also just started noticing like other little things. Now, it's going to sound really silly, but I have noticed, and I know this is going to sound so vain, and you can't see me if you're listening to this on the podcast, but if you're on YouTube, you'll see me twisting my arm. Now, when I twist my arm like this, I had noticed my skin was kind of gathering like an old lady, like almost getting a little bit crepey, and it was, I don't know, I don't even know what I planned to do about it, but I had noticed it and it wasn't making me very happy, let me be honest. Anyway, what I noticed after taking this NMN probably for about a month, my skin has just become so smooth and almost a lot more taut. Like, again, if you're just listening to this, you cannot see me touching my skin, but if you could see this, you could look how tight my skin is looking. Like, I mean, it's not my 20-year-old skin, but it's not my 40-year-old skin either. And this is what this NMN stuff does. It kind of like reverse ages you. And it's really interesting if you look at like the studies of people who take it, like what the difference it's made on like their biological clock. I'd be really interested to test my biological age and see how old I am. I mean, God, it would be sad if I was like 75. I do smoke like 600 cigarettes a week, but I'd be interested to know like how old I actually am, because I feel like with this stuff, it is kind of aging me backwards a little bit. And this thing with my skin is just, I don't know, I just feel, I spend a lot of time stroking myself. God, that sounds really weird, but I feel so soft and so lovely, and it's just really nice. Anyway, the skin is skinning. Probably one of the most important things, and I think the thing you guys will find the most interesting, I've lost weight taking this NMN, and I know it's the NMN because when I was reading about it, and its weight loss effects, it can have quite a significant effect on weight loss. Now, I hadn't actually expected any weight loss from it, but because I noticed I was losing weight and then started looking into it and realised, oh my God, it is something people use that like aid with weight loss. Obviously, it was another reason I continued taking it. And with all this health stuff that was going on, I don't have scales and I don't weigh myself. But a few months ago, before I started taking the NMN, I weighed myself at my friend's house, right? And I'm not going to tell you what I weigh because it's fucking embarrassing, but I just want you to know I've at least got 1 stone on each breast, okay? But I weighed myself, and when I went to the doctors and all this health stuff started, they weighed me, and I realised I'd lost half a stone in like a few months. And I thought, to them, because I'd said like it was involuntary and I hadn't really made the connection and whatever, and there was so much going on, I think that was like a little bit of a worry, like, oh my God, I've lost half a stone. But now we know I'm absolutely fine. How fucking fantastic is that I've lost half a stone, like involuntarily, doing nothing. I haven't changed anything either. I haven't changed like my diet. I wish I could start exercising. That is next on my list of things to conquer. But yeah, nothing's really changed, but I've lost a little bit of weight. And it's not super noticeable, but I can feel it a little bit, and it's nice. So yeah, I think that is another bonus of these NMN. They really help with the weight loss thing. I think as well, if you're going to actually like eat properly and go to the gym, you could probably really use these to your advantage. Maybe I should take my own advice. Anyway, lastly, and this is probably again one of the most important things to me, and again why I have continued taking it and why I'm bringing it up in this podcast, is because with regards to these peri-menopause symptoms and like the stuff that was happening to me, I started finding that I was back to being like a grade A psychopath the week before my period, and also having just like that horrible lead up. You know that thing where you're like, I'm nearly 40, but still once a month I will be like, oh my God, my life is terrible, everything's falling apart, I want to kill myself. And then the next day I come on my period and I go, oh, it's just my period. Like, that doesn't fucking happen every month of my life since fucking forever, right? It's so bloody silly. But what I noticed from taking this was that stopped happening. That like lead up of like absolute doom before my period, where the world was falling apart and everything just felt so terrible, that just stopped happening. It was wild. So I really like this NMN stuff. Now, with regards to how to take it, these are 500 milligram capsules. Now, what I will say is a few negatives. They might not be negatives, I don't know, because not everything's for everybody. But my friend who's diagnosed as ADHD, you know when you get something and it's so good, you just want everybody to be like involved in it. Obviously, because when I got this and then I started the company, I had so much flipping NMN. So I gave her some. I was like, please try this. Like, it's really good. But she said she took some and she was wired. She just couldn't sleep. She said she was still up at 4 o'clock in the morning and she just couldn't get to bed. She's got to get up again at 6. It just fucked her up. It was not for her, and she's kind of scared to take it again. So it's not for everyone. But again, this is not something she has sought out. It is something I've kind of like just shoved at her and said, hey, I really think you should be taking this. So I don't know if we should judge it off of that. But what was I saying before? I can't actually remember. But this NMN stuff, yeah, this is one of, I think, the best things that has helped me in terms of dealing with these perimenopause symptoms, and I will be taking this forever. Oh, I was saying how to take it. This is simple to take. You literally just take a capsule first thing in the morning. I've actually started keeping this, most of my supplements I keep downstairs, but I keep this on my bedside table because you just have to get up and take it first thing in the morning, because I think the later, it is a lot of energy. The later you take it, the more likely you are to still be awake late at night. So you just want to take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. I personally found a lot of you, my true Insta fam, drink something called oolong tea. We should do a podcast on that actually, because that shit is a lifesaver. But you drink the oolong tea and it's got caffeine in it. And I also know a lot of you drink coffee in the morning. This stuff didn't really mix well with it. So my routine is like, I get up and I drink a big pot of oolong in the morning. It's the first thing I do. So I was getting up, taking this tablet, having the oolong straight away, and I was getting the wickedest headaches, like especially the first week. Like I had such bad headaches, and then that's when I started doing more research on it, and was finding that I found that you're not supposed to like mix it with caffeine in the first half an hour. So now that's why they're on my bedside table. I get up, I pop it, lie there for a little minute, gather my thoughts, and then go make my tea slowly and stuff, so it's not so close to me taking it. So that's the only thing I would say to watch out for. But yeah, so that is the NMN, and well, considering these people haven't paid me to talk about it, I just threw that over there if you didn't know what just happened because you're listening to this. I'm gonna stop talking about it, but I'm going to move nicely on to this. This is Maca, if you can't see what I am showing you. This stuff is the stuff I started taking first. Now, when I first started on this perimenopause journey, I think I put something on my Instagram and somebody had actually recommended these. Now, they'd recommended another version of them that were quite expensive, but me being me, I had researched them. And this is funny, actually. This ties into the NMN story a little bit, because interestingly, this specialist supplements company, they actually do their own label products. They do the same service that the people I was doing the NMN with, where you can buy these unlabeled, put your own label on it and sell it. Now, there's somebody quite well known who's selling these with their own brand. And you know what? More power to them. I think it's fantastic. But they're quite expensive and it's a smaller supply. Anyway, so I found these basically from the original supplier. You get 90 capsules, which if you're taking one a day would be a 3-month supply. And it's literally £10.69. And so when I first was really in the pits of hell, I honestly did not have the finances to start buying a fuck ton of supplements, which is why I was researching and I ended up finding these. And at £10 for a 3-month supply, like that was fully fucking manageable. So I started taking these, and these were the first thing that made kind of like, I actually noticed a difference with like, I think my period pains more than anything. And again, like that lead up, I will stand by the fact that the NMN is what turned around, like literally destroyed my PMS, just fucked it up. It's like kicked it out, it's done, it's gone. But the Maca was kind of what started that process. And I believe it was slower for me because I wasn't taking as many as I should. Now it says on the back, you can take between 1 and 3 a day. I was only taking 1 a day because I have taken Maca. Now this is not just Maca in here, I'll read out the ingredients in a minute, but I've taken Maca before, quite a high dose of it, and it's really made my boobs hurt. It's quite I can't remember, I'm so bad, I should have done some more research, but it makes a lot of estrogen maybe, and my boobs were just like, you know, when you're like, oh, like, I can't, if you know what it's like when you're boobs, they were just tender, and it was like, ah. And the funny thing was, that was happening, but also what was happening, the reason I started taking Maca initially, I will be honest with you, it wasn't actually for hormones. I'd started taking it because I was reading that Maca actually helps to shift your weight into womanly places. Now, if you've seen me, you know I carry like a lot of weight in my stomach. Got quite a, like, I've got basically got a cortisol fucking back, and I don't know, so I started taking the Maca in the hope to like shift the weight. What it does is basically shift your weight to your hips and your bum, gives you like to your womanly places basically. So I noticed it having that effect, but it was also killing my fucking boobs, so I stopped taking it. You know, sometimes it's just better to be fucking looking terrible than feeling terrible, right? So at least I can't see myself, it's only you guys. Anyway, so I stopped taking that high dose of just Maca, but then when these were sold as basically like a hormone balancing tablet, I started taking it. There's not so much Maca in it, but I was still wary, so I only took one a day. Point to this is, about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, I started taking 2 a day, and I have actually really noticed how nicely they work with the NMN. Like, I am just starting to feel so much better. And again, I don't know if it's an accumulation of things. We will not put everything on these supplements because, I don't know, there's been a lot of things that have shifted in my life, and I'm just feeling better. And quite frankly, I'm getting some good penis. Like, honestly, I feel fucking great. And it could just be all because of that. And unfortunately, you cannot buy that in supplement form. So I don't know if it's all that, but I am feeling so much better. And like I said, 6 weeks ago, I started doubling up on this. I now take 2 in the morning of these. And again, they are just very nice to help you manage your moods and the PMS thing, managing the periods. I for a long time have had a really, I wouldn't say it's a nice cycle in that it feels nice, but like the length of my cycle is literally 2 days. So like I'll come on my period, I bleed super heavy for one day, super heavy for day 2, and then day 3 is like there'll be half a day of watery pinkness, like just basically it's going away. And I've been really lucky because I deserve that. Like, I used to have like 10-day fucking periods. They were diabolical, so I deserve my 2-day periods now. But my cycle's been good for a long time. But this, I have just known, even though I've always had a short cycle, not always, but recently had a very short cycle, I have still found I have been psychotic. Like that that honestly, that leading up, and it, no matter what fucking happens, you still don't ever remember. Well, I still would never remember that, oh, it's just your period, like stop being dramatic, like you're going to be fine. The world just feels devastatingly unfixable, and like your life feels unfixed. Everything just feels like you fucking can't. And I don't know, but that has really stopped. And that, I think, makes such a difference in my life. I remember being young and having like terrible PMS symptoms. It just disables you. It fucks everything up because you're just constantly, especially with me as well, I used to have like these crazy fucking outbursts, and then I'd feel so bad, and then you're just kind of like hiding from the world trying to recover, and then by the time you're feeling back to normal, it's not time to start a fucking psycho part of the cycle again. I don't, it just goes on and on and on. It can really fuck your life. So managing this for me, especially with these new peri-menopause symptoms, I mean, God, it's one thing feeling fucking mental, but like fancy feeling mental and not even having the energy to be mental. Like, it's just, it wasn't good. It was not a good place to be. Anyway, so this is the Maca. Now, just quickly, it's also got in it ginkgo biloba, panax ginseng, gingeroo, L-arginine, damian leaf, and black pepper. And obviously, it's got the Maca and it's got some zinc in it. And all it says on the back is zinc contributes to normal fertility and reproduction, and it also contributes to normal DNA synthesis, normal cognitive function, and normal acid-base metabolism. Don't even know what that means, but point is, I think these are really helping me. And the fact that they're 10, if you're going to take 1 a day, what's that, £10, 3-month supply, me taking 2 a day, that's £10 every 6. I can't do maths, but whatever. It's not much considering I smoke a lot of cigarettes. That's how I make everything balanced, you know. I just think, well, if I would spend £30 on weed and smoke it in like a day, why would you not spend £10 on tablets that would last for 3 months and probably stop you from killing yourself? It's a no-brainer. Anyway, for me at least. Anyway, but not finally, but lastly, I want to talk about 2 things that I have actually been taking. One for a super, super long time. I probably should have led with this because this is one of my favourite things. And then one of my new favourite things, both from this fantastic company called Form. Now, I really like this company and I really like their stuff, and I I've taken quite a few of their products. Now I will say their protein powders, they do like a, this is how I discovered this company as well. When I was vegan many years ago, they were like one of the first people that did a really decent vegan protein powder. And by decent, I mean it had decent ingredients. By taste, it was disgusting. Like, honestly, it was foul. But I really liked the company because I can't remember if they sent me a replacement flavour or they sent me a refund. Either way, they did something to just, you know, I love a good company. I always try and run my business like that. Like, this might be your last customer. Like, treat them, give them everything, like, love them. And I like that. Anyway, but I tried some more of their products because at the time, like, I think the word nootropic was quite like a buzzword. And they sell nootropics. Now, nootropics is basically brain food. It's stuff you take to make your brain function better. Now, again, it's funny because one of my podcasts, I was like, I don't think I have ADHD, and someone took the time to message me and say, Tamara, are you crazy? You just spoke non-stop for 29 minutes. What on earth would make you think you don't have ADHD? But like, whatever. Do you know why I don't think I have it? Because actually, no, let me not start on this because I'm going to offend a whole bunch of people. I should probably do that in a separate podcast. But let's not do that now. Point is, my brain, whilst I don't think I have ADHD, does not function, I believe, like how a lot of other people's brain functions. Like, there's a lot that goes on in my brain. My brain is kind of like, you know, when you have your Safari open and you've got 71 tabs open and you don't even know what fucking 69 of them are or remember why you opened them. That's kind of like what my brain is, right, all the fucking time. And this stuff, this Edge stuff, this is what the supplement is called. It's called Edge. When I started taking this, I noticed, like, almost instantly how my brain was just kind of like, just calm. It's just like a better place to be. It's like there's 4 tabs open. You know why every single one is open, and you know which tab you should be concentrating on. That's kind of what it's like for me. Now, again, I would never go to the doctors and get a diagnosis or anything, or even take any of their shit. But I am willing to acknowledge that my brain, like, is a bit of a div sometimes and could probably do with some more support. So this Edge stuff, again, I have noticed how much it just, you take it and your brain just goes, it's just a calmer place. So I have been taking this, I'm going to say, for a good couple of years now. This is the one thing I have, no matter if, and this is another thing as well, I find this to be quite affordable. I was just about to say, like, there have been times when, you know, again, supplementing, keeping up with it is not the easiest, but this is the one thing, like, I would happily not eat dinner and then buy a bottle of this because it just makes such a noticeable difference in my life. But this is, I think it's £20 a bottle. But if you subscribe, you get 20% off. So it works out to, like, I think it just basically works out to like £20 with delivery, which again, I don't think is bad. And this is for a month's supply and you're supposed to take 2 a day. However, there's actually B3 in this. And because I didn't want to be taking too much B3, because remember, that's what the NMN is, basically just a bunch of B3. I've dropped this down to taking 1 a day. But even with that, I really notice on the days that I don't take this, like, the difference that it makes. I even take these on holiday, and there's not many things that I find when I'm on holiday, like, everything's fine. Like, I do not fucking need supplements, but I still take these with me. I just pop 1 a day and they really make a difference. Anyway, these have got in them some stuff I'm probably not going to be able to pronounce. Alpha GPC, don't know what that is. Maybe again, if these people had paid me, I would have researched it. Anyway, Bacopa Moneri Bacasides? What the fuck even is it? Do you know, I don't know. I always say as well, if you can't say something or pronounce it, you probably shouldn't take it, but you should take these. Well, I'm just making myself look like a twat right now. Phosphatidylglycerate. Do you know what I should have done? Just taken a picture and put it on the screen right here, but that wouldn't help for the people on the podcast listening. Right, whatever, that word I can't pronounce. God, it's making me dumb trying to read this, right? Ginkgo biloba. Do you know another thing? Companies that did not want to sponsor this. If you'd sponsored me, do you know what I would have done? Not smoked weed before I filmed this, then everything would have been on point. I would have pulled something up from Google. I would have been able to pronounce this. Things would have gone so much better, but here we fucking are. Anyway, get what you pay for, don't you? Bio-peri, that's black pepper, I know what the fuck that is. Thiamine, niacin, vitamin B6, vitamin 12, pantothenic acid, iodine, and thank God that is the end of that list that I have to read. But yeah, that is basically what's in it. On the front, it just says Advanced Nootropic Complex, right? And I really do feel like this helps. Now, what I will say about this is, you know, some stuff like you don't have to take for, like I'm about to start a course of wild blue-green algae. Now, you don't really want to take wild blue-green algae forever, but you're probably going to want to take it for about 6 months. I've been, like I said, taking this for about 2 years. I do not feel like this is something that builds up and then you get better and then you do. It's like, I'm not going to take this for 2 years and all of a sudden my brain works properly. No, I need this every day to make sure my brain does work properly. So this to me is just like, I don't know, I wouldn't even call this a supplement. This is like medication for me, and I treat it as such because honestly, without this, well, don't think we'd be getting much done. Anyway, so that is Edge. That is from Form Nutrition. by the time I've done this, I'll have a discount code for you. Watch this fucking space. Anyway, the next thing I take from them is this supplement they have called Zeds. Now, I will tell the full story to this because I actually bought this supplement a really long time ago, probably about a year ago, and I started taking it and it gave me the wildest dreams that didn't even make sense. Not even like a dream, you know, because I don't dream. I smoke far too much weed to dream, and that's good. I've said this before, I don't have time to fucking dream. It's exhausting. So I started taking this stuff and I started having dreams, and they weren't even like sensible, because if I do have a dream, I know it's like a prophetic message. The gods have spoken to me. I must listen. This was just bullshit. I was pulling bacon out of my nose, right? Like, just the weirdest fucking wildest dreams, right? So I stopped taking it, and then when I started taking the NMN, I read that it's not enhanced, but the things that will support it are things like magnesium, right? So I've started taking the magnesium in because obviously I've still got them in the drawer, and oh my god, I started having the wickedest sleeps of my life. Like, again, not ADHD, but I only sleep like 4 or 5 hours a night. I've been sleeping for 7 hours, sometimes 8, uninterrupted. Do you know how fucking magical? That's probably why I'm looking so good. Like, the skin is getting better, everything is feeling better. Sleep is so important. And I don't think just because I cope with like sleeping 4 or 5 hours that means it's necessarily right. Like, I'm probably still supposed to be getting more sleep. I just fucking physically can't stay asleep. But yeah, it's made me have just really good sleep, and it helps me fall asleep as well. Because that's probably why I fell in love with smoking cannabis in the first place. The first time I smoked weed, I actually went to bed that night. My whole childhood memory is just being awake at night, just being awake and looking at the fucking clock on my video player. All I remember. And I remember the first night I smoked weed, I went home and I went to sleep, and it was fucking glorious. And I've pretty much smoked weed every day since, mainly out of the fear that if I didn't smoke, I'd never go back to sleep again. But this magnesium, like, I'll be smoking my bedtime spliff. You take it like an hour before bed and you really just feel it like wind your body down. Like, you just feel relaxed. And yeah, I've been having such a good sleep. And like I said, like an actual good sleep, not like where I'm waking up at every little thing. And it actually does give me a good sleep. My God, my kids all went to their dads this weekend, and I woke up to find my eldest son had like come home in the middle of the night, and I hadn't even heard a damn thing. And again, testament to these tablets, because they just knocked me the fuck out. And and I'm waking up kind of feeling a lot more refreshed. Like, normally, I mean, it's probably the weed, let's be real, but normally I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I haven't even been asleep. But taking this magnesium, I'm really noticing how I'm waking up just like a lot. Don't get me wrong, I'm still waking up like, oh my God, but it's just not so, I don't know, I don't feel so lackluster and so like, oh, I really just can't. I seem to wake up really quickly and be ready for the day. So yeah, I don't know, I'm loving it. Anyway, so that is basically what I am taking. My God, I think this podcast has gone on a little bit. I'm gonna have to wrap this up, but this is what I am taking at the moment. And all of these things, this NMN, this Edge, this magnesium, and this Maca, all together, they are pretty much keeping me alive, and I'm very, very grateful to all of them. What was the cost of all this? That's £10. So this is just about the cost about NMN quickly. I do actually have a discount code for these people for 20% off, so I'm going to leave that for you, which will bring this down. It works out to, with the delivery, a month supply of this is £22, but a 3-month supply with the code, it works out to £44, and that's what I've got. I bought the big jar because I thought, again, £44, that kind of works out to, it's like just over £10 a month, which again is manageable. So with all of these, I'm probably I'm spending no more than £50 a month, but broken up over the weeks. Like, I don't do things like shop at fucking Starbucks or any of that shit. So, in fact, you know what? Even if I bloody did, I would still buy this stuff. Point is, if you're feeling shit, if you can just, I don't know, any of these things. And if I had to pick one, if I had to say, like, invest in one of these products, I would honestly say invest in the NMN. That covers all the angles. It sorts out the brain fog. The reason I take the Edge with the NMN is because I noticed that it kind of like soups it up. I feel like super good in the day. I like feeling super good. But again, if I could only do one, I would just take the NMN and start with that and see how you get on. Anyway, I am going to wrap this up because now I've got to go and write a really long informational bio about all of these products. But I love you all very much. I'm going to be back next week. I don't even know what with yet, but I will be back, all right? Because keeping it regular and all of that. And just thank you for listening as always. Please remember to like this, leave me a comment, tell your friends, and just thanks for listening. And yeah, I love you all very much. Mwah.